What would be your reaction if one day you discover that the immersive game you are playing is not a game but a reality? A game called Zerg OL is sweeping the world. In this game, you need to play the role of a bug to help the leader Jiang Yao rebuild the swarm of insects and resist the human imperial army that may exterminate them at any time. Is this game fun? Mengxin asked the newly joined Mengxin. New players are here again, this game is really fun. Mengxin, hurry up. This group is full of perverts. Let's go. Let's go. The person you just chatted with hasn't been offline for 72 consecutive hours. They just entered the ICU yesterday. Is this game very cute? Mengxin was a bit unsure. Special liver. Playing other games costs money, playing this game is useless. The liver doesn't matter at all, they call me the liver emperor in other games. Obviously, naive Mengxin didn't realize the seriousness of the situation. Until one day. Since playing Zerg OL, my waist is no longer sore and my legs are no longer painful. At the age of only 20, I have grown old and become young bald. Even my blind date sisters call me uncle, it's really amazing. And for this group of players, Jiang Yao was also heartbroken. That Steel Thunder beast over there, don't listen to my command. The Titans of the Titan Order are here. Group up and don't be alone. Flying Dragon. Fight a warship. You're in the air. Don't hit the ground. There are ground units fighting on the ground. The Devourers of the N-74 Galaxy. Line Trough. Don't spray at that blue planet, it's your home planet. I'm not joking. Keywords of the novel. Zerg OL. This game has billions of liver without pop-ups. Zerg OL. This game has billions of liver. Download the full text. Zerg OL. This game has billions of liver. Latest chapters to read. Chapter 1. Crossing the Zerg clan to find players. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Crossing the Zerg clan to find players in the depths of the universe, an unknown galaxy, with a twist in space. The next moment a huge warship appeared here. This is a giant warship with a length of nearly 10 kilometers, which is a symbol of the human empire and an emperor class. Having a super weapon and hundreds of flagship guns, it is the conqueror of civilization, the harvester on the battlefield, and at this moment its target is an inconspicuous planet in this galaxy. This should be the last insect nest, said the commander inside the battleship, looking at the projection of the planet and the several 100-meter-high insect nest in the cave space deep underground. Upon hearing the commander's words, the soldiers under his command nodded and said, "Yes, Commander, this is the last one." As he spoke, the soldier instinctively looked towards the dying queen who was bound by a special spiritual beam not far away. Queen, the leader of the Zerg race, all the starry Zerg races in this universe will obey her commands. She is everything to the Zerg race, and she is the swarm. The Zerg without the queen are a group of wild beasts with no wisdom to speak of. Although the starry sky Zerg are powerful, their intelligence is their biggest flaw. Without the queens and brain worms devouring power to connect these Zergs, it would not be a concern. The power of the queen who loses the swarm will also be greatly weakened, because the queen's power comes from the swarm watching the half-dead queen commander slowly walk up to her in the distance at this moment. Your connection with the swarm insects has created a powerful Zerg race, and this connection is also your biggest weakness. Because once you are caught, we can easily locate all of your mother nests through the connections between you. Although you can disconnect from the insect nests, you cannot do so due to the interference of molar stones and severe damage to yourself. So hundreds of years ago, our alien trial court manufactured this device based on your characteristic. The commander looked at the queen with hatred in his eyes and said, "It's time to end." The task of eliminating the interstellar Zerg race, assigned by the trial court, has come to an end today, 2,000 years later, thanks to the efforts of the demon trial court and the alien trial court. Just like your swarm, our empire also has strong beliefs. Our loyalty to the Emperor is like the swarm's loyalty to the Queen. This is not just a simple collision of force, but also a collision of beliefs. The commander looked at the Queen and made a standard imperial etiquette to express his respect for this tribe. Although you are insects, you are also referring to respected opponents. The greatest respect between civilizations is to eliminate them to the fullest. As the words fell, at the top of the Emperor-class battleship, a huge energy ball began to gather. The weapons of the apocalypse are being charged 60%, 80%, 100%. As the charging was completed, a thick blue beam of light shot towards the planet. When this planet was transformed into dust under the tremendous energy impact, the final insect nest also disappeared into this universe. At the same time, the Queen slowly closed her eyes and the signs of life gradually disappeared. But what everyone present didn't notice was that her gaze had turned in a certain direction before she died. So I'm crossing over now. At the other end of the galaxy, Jiang Yao looked at the huge insect nest in front of him with a bewildered expression and remained silent for a long time. Jiang Yao, a family member of Blue Star Flower Planting, like millions of other ordinary people, has entered society and found a decent job in the past as a game planning assistant for a certain company. Although the salary is not particularly high after entering the industry, I can barely make ends meet. Of course, he himself is not someone who is content with the status quo. In his spare time, he also registered a company and built his own website, preparing for his future solo career. As the saying goes, planning a game without wanting to do it oneself is not a good plan. Then when everything was steadily progressing according to his own plan, he crossed over. I inexplicably traveled to this planet where birds don't poop, and even bound a system. Super evolutionary system. This is called a super evolution system, which can obtain evolution points by killing organisms or some special plants, consume evolution points, and then cause individual organisms to evolve. In addition, it can also establish a spiritual connection with other creatures, allowing this creature to be completely controlled by itself. And you can gain a shared view of the controlled creature, but the premise of this control is that the creature must have absolute loyalty to you. If I remember correctly, did you already bind the insect nest to me just now? Answer the host, yes. So are the insects it produces absolutely loyal to me? Yes. So since that's the case, Jiang Yao gradually had an idea in his heart. Firstly, I just learned through the system Jiang Yao that the Zerg tribe failed in the battle and the Queen was captured. And all the mother nests scattered in the universe were found and eliminated by the human race due to the connection of the Queen. And this nest can stay because it has defects, while the insects produced by other nests, although not very intelligent, at least still have some intelligence. But the insects produced by this nest are purely a group of intellectually disabled individuals, and this unique nest is naturally abandoned. So the Queen disconnected from it early on, which allowed this insect nest to escape unscathed. So it can be inferred that the insects born from this nest are basically those that cannot take care of themselves. What can this kind of bug do without human control? Nothing can be done. As for controlling these insects, is it feasible to rely solely on Jiang Yao? Definitely not. After all, he couldn't possibly control so many insects all by himself, so after much thought, he came up with a solution. Just let others control it. This perfectly solves the problem of insects' intelligence. Thinking of this, Jiang Yao immediately began to take action. Finding someone to control the insects is not easy. Can the system connect to the Blue Star network? Then create a game helmet and deliver it to Blue Star players' hands. Chen Gang asked at this thought. Answer the host, theoretically possible, but requires the consumption of evolution points. Currently, the host's evolution point is 0, so please ask the host to obtain the evolution point first. And the host needs to obtain the Blue Star coordinates to complete the teleportation, and finding the Blue Star coordinates and teleportation both require a lot of evolution points. Upon hearing the system's response, Jiang Yao simply glanced lightly at the nearby insect nest. What, I think the system. Although that insect nest is a silly batch, could you please not treat me as a silly batch? Labor and capital were brought by you from Blue Star, why did you tell me that you don't know the coordinates? Are you fooling Ghost system? That's it. After a period of time. A website that has been quiet for several years suddenly underwent a change. I saw high-definition textures being placed one after another. In the picture, a monster with metal tongs, resembling a crab, is attacking a sturdy plant that is about 10 meters tall. The flower buds of plants still have sharp fangs on their mouths. The next picture shows the crab monster highlighting the green corrosive liquid, while at the same time, the giant plant opens its bloody mouth and attacks the crab monster. And in the middle of the intersection of the two, there are also a few big words written. Ultimate Gaming Experience. Conquer the mysterious planet. The next few images are mostly of similar tone, except for a change in the text. For example, my fate is determined by me, not by heaven. I substitute salt for the Zerg. Alternatively, if I am a worker bee and a brother, come and chop me down. For example, in Zerg OL, the distribution of beta testing quotas is not being deleted. We sincerely invite you to experience together. I hope everyone can support the new book. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Distribution of internal test quota. You are listening at novel full.audio. Chapter 2. Distribution of internal test quota. Not long after. Blue Star, a rental room. Sigh. It's not interesting, it's really boring. The game is so repetitive now that it's all about urination. While talking, Jiang Yao was bored searching for helmet games on the STE gaming platform. There are all Star Wars games on the market, and although helmet games with Star Wars themes have a great market, how many of these games with such a huge worldview can really do well? Although the interstellar era became popular a while ago, it was just an exception. Who gave you the confidence to create the illusion that you could also become popular? If you were me. As he was about to close the game interface after searching for a long time without success, suddenly a game called Zerg OL caught his attention. Playing the role of a bug defeating the evil human race, this introduction is a bit interesting. A new game just released today. With a hint of curiosity, he clicked in. I have to say that this texture is quite impressive. As soon as he entered, he was attracted by the texture on the official website. Damn it, this high definition. I'm afraid it's throwing all the company's funds into the stickers, he said as he noticed the game content video in the center. After clicking on the video, a huge insect nest appeared in the underground cave in the opening scene, and as the camera zoomed in, the image became clearer and clearer. Sleeping slot. Sleeping slot. Is it special to stretch the lens to this level without a mosaic? Even every cell can be seen clearly. I don't believe it. Absolutely. What kind of movie footage was used to copy and paste directly over? Looking at everything in front of him, Jiang Yao said, but the next moment the letters popped up. We solemnly promise. If you enter the game and the promotional images are not consistent, please uninstall the game immediately and report us. Report website www.xxxxx.com. When Jiang Yao saw a subtitle here, he was stunned and said, "Is this game company so tough? Did you just post a report website? Or are these all true? It's not the kind of trick of using a dog to plan a sacrificial ceremony if the goods are not right." His curiosity grew stronger as he spoke. Continuing to look down, a worker bee with a body length of about 8 meters and a height of about 5 meters, which looked somewhat bulky, crawled out of it. The next perspective switched to that of the worker bee. Follow the worker bee's perspective to cross the cave and reach the ground. At the moment when the worker bee stepped out of the cave, a dazzling light shone down. I saw that this is a vibrant planet, full of various strange plants, and not far away, various strange beasts can be seen everywhere. And at this moment, a mutation occurred, and a huge plant in the distance rushed towards the worker bee with its bloody mouth open at an extremely fast speed, and the battle was imminent. And at this moment, the scene came to a sudden halt. What's going on next? I'm gone and I'm young. What's going on next? It's so frustrating. Now these broken game websites are also coming to learn some videos and post half of their ups, which is really disgusting. Seeing the sudden stop in the scene, Jiang Yao instinctively screamed. At this moment, he didn't realize that he was deeply attracted by the picture. But then he calmed down. His first reaction was that this game's graphics quality is absolutely impossible. This kind of high-quality game has an investment of at least 1 billion or even tens of billions. How could a game with an investment unit of this magnitude be so unknown, and no matter how much it needs to be promoted? And this quality of the game, as a game veteran, how could he have never heard of it? After all, the interstellar pancake next door has crowdfunded billions and has been developed for over a decade, but there hasn't been much progress. The graphics worldview of this game is not inferior to star-rated pancakes, but it has already been put into the market. Why is he? Thinking of this, Jiang Yao became even more convinced that it was a stinky ditch game that was carefully crafted with CG and feet. However, when he remembered the official barrage just now, he accidentally clicked into the beta qualification claim interface. Damn it! What the hell? It's so troublesome to get qualified for the internal test. At this moment, looking at a long page of the internal testing qualification application form, Jiang Yao instinctively wanted to click on the upper right corner to close it directly. But when he saw the successful application at the top, which was to give away the exclusive game helmet, he held back. Nowadays, game helmets are not cheap, costing tens of thousands each. Moreover, looking at the helmet with a strong Zerg style in the picture, he suppressed the last impulse of his application form to close. Because customized DIY helmets are more expensive. He suppressed the urge to quit and started filling it out. What are these 8-box questions? How old are you? What is the longest time you have played games online? Please provide evidence. What strategic games have you played before? Please provide evidence. Have you ever participated in gaming competitions? What kind of results have you achieved? Seeing these strange questions all over the place, is it really important to provide evidence? He's angry. Go to Nima, take evidence of your paralysis. You're deliberately making things difficult for Fat Tiger Me. Thinking of this, he couldn't bear to be tormented by these questions and directly filled out a paragraph in all the fields. I play games with just one word liver. Then attach an annual report chart of the itch master. I saw it prominently written above, player XX. Last year, itch master spent a total of 201 days online, with the longest online time being 24 hours per day. At the same time, there are also many people doing the same thing as Jiang Yao in other places where flowers are planted. However, unlike Jiang Yao, some people start showing off various textures, while others simply close the interface. In summary, a day later, Jiang Yao from the insect nest received 20 completed application forms. So he started screening the application form like an interviewer. This is enough for the liver to use. And this professional player can also use this. Just give up on a salted fish. After completing all of this, Jiang Yao built an official group and brought the players who had completed the questionnaire closer to the chat group. As soon as I entered the group, everyone started making a fuss. Jiang Yao. Have you all filled out the form? Xianyu. Yes, just finished filling it out and asked me to join the group, but to be honest, this group is so deserted. Emperor Penguin. This is normal, after all, this is a new game, but to be honest, I don't believe that this game is really like the promotional footage. Cloud Player. I don't really believe it either. I don't need to say much about the graphics of this game. It's really beyond the reach of ordinary companies to create a game with such a grand worldview. Storm and Cloud. Yes, and I took a look at this company. It's an unknown small company registered 3 years ago, and this game is also their first game. The only thing that impressed me about this game company is that they didn't invite anyone in the official group to create the illusion that this game is very popular. Unknown. Everyone, is it only me who came here for a white helmet? So everyone continued chatting, and soon someone suddenly received an email. Jiang Yao. Brothers. I just received the email stating that the application has been approved. Email reply. The helmet will be delivered to my home within 3 days. Emperor Penguin. Damn it. I also received it. Salted fish. Coincidentally, I also received it. Cloud player. Sigh. Do you all have it? Why isn't it just me? Feng Xiao Xiao. I don't have either. Although the people who received the email at this moment did not have much hope for the official helmet delivery, they knew that the possibility was very low, but they still held on to a little bit of luck. A few days later, one morning, Jiang Yao, who had just woken up, heard a knocking outside the door. Who is it? With a hint of doubt, he opened the door. Excuse me, is this Mr. Chen? Yes, it's me. Hello Mr. Chen, please sign for a collect package. As he spoke, the courier pointed to the box under his feet. Cash on delivery. He said with some confusion, but soon he seemed to remember something. Is that so? As he spoke, he quickly squatted down and stared at the box on the ground, his eyes full of disbelief. It's impossible, really delivered it. So what? Can I open the box and inspect the goods? Of course you can. So, about a few minutes later. Official group of Zerg OL. Jiang Yao. My second Olympics. My second Olympics. Brothers, look. He quickly sent over the picture of the helmet as he spoke. Jiang Yao. Damn it. I always thought this official was just for fun, but it turned out. Who would have thought that this horse stomping was actually true? The official really gave away helmets. Emperor Penguin. At Jiang Yao, did you really receive the helmet? Brother, let's take a look at the situation in the game first. Even if you dare to give me a helmet, I feel that this official promotion may be true. Salted fish. I received good news early in the morning, brother cute. I also received the helmet. After a brief conversation with everyone, Jiang Yao also eagerly picked up his helmet and prepared to enter the game. The next moment. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Enter the ultimate game experience. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Enter the ultimate game experience. I saw Jiang Yao appear in a space filled with green codes. Please name your character. Note. Character naming cannot be changed. Naming. Jiang Yao made a mistake. Naming or something is the most troublesome thing, just think of one. Do you want to use Kuan as your character name at the beginning? Yes. Role naming successful. Connecting to server. Connection successful. Player, starting with a Kuan, as a beta player, the character, worker B, was successfully distributed for free. Loading. Successfully loaded. As the series of prompts came to an end, everything in front of Jiang Yao changed when the white light flashed and he regained his senses again. Ah, this. Ah, this. Grab the grass. Forgive me for not having any culture, that's all. Nima's game was really made. And the most crucial thing is that the official game of this level of graphics quality even allows you to buy a game helmet for free. How dare you believe this? At this moment, Jiang Yao, who was controlling the huge body of the worker bee, was wandering around the beehive, looking at everything in front of him with an incredulous expression on his face. At this moment, another worker bee also emerged from the nest. Nima's. It's amazing. This picture quality. This operation feels great. I'm Nima. The details of taking 2 steps and leaving footprints are amazing. Quickly entering the game, Xianyu saw the equally stunning Jiang Yao not far away. "Are you?" Xianyu asked strangely as he walked up to Jiang Yao. "I'm Jiang Yao," a Kun replied at the beginning. After learning the identity of the first Kun, the salted fish could not help but complain, "I will go. How can you name such a wonderful flower? Did you just use the ID in the group? I thought it was your username. My other games are also called salted fish, and changing the ID to game when entering the game group is a basic operation. Don't you know that? Okay. It means that as someone who plays single-player games all year round, I'm not very familiar with this rule. I'll go to the group later and change my ID." At this moment, while the two were still talking, Jiang Yao walked over and saw the 2 people in front of him. Jiang Yao quickly explained the pre-prepared script to them. "It can be seen that our 2 Zerg warriors have awakened. 100 years ago, a great war broke out between the human race and the Zerg race, but unfortunately we failed. The entire Zerg tribe suffered a catastrophic disaster, and the evil human race carried out a strategy of annihilating us Zerg. They found our scattered insect nests throughout the universe and eliminated them one by one, and we are the last Zerg in this universe. Although humans have not yet found us, even if I have a premonition that we may still be found in the near future. So before that, we need to develop and strengthen ourselves in order to resist the danger that can happen at any time." 2 insects quietly listened to Jiang Yao's narration, although for salted fish, he usually skipped this beginner's tutorial directly. However, this game doesn't work because according to the official website, the person in front of me is the Zerg leader Jiang Yao, who controls the entire Zerg tribe and is also the most important NPC in the game. In the future, insects need to evolve or perform other operations through him. Having a high level of intelligence, he has an independent liking for each insect. When his liking reaches a certain level, he is highly likely to evolve here and offer you a discount on the price. If his favorability towards you decreases, it is highly likely that the cost of evolution will increase. And if the favorability is lower, it may even be banned. Yes. You didn't hear me wrong. This NPC can be banned directly. Although this is outrageous. But as a game that claims to be 100% realistic, this is quite normal. After all, as the leader of the Zerg tribe, he holds the power to control the life and death of all insects, and the operation of the game would be a ban. So, although both of them felt that what he was saying was useless nonsense at the moment, they still patiently listened to it. "So, 2 great Zerg warriors, what you need to do now is build the worm nest. The worm nest is severely lacking in supplies, and even maintaining basic operations is a problem. What you need to do now is go to the ground to collect food and send it down. I will reward you with corresponding evolution points based on how much food you collect." Upon hearing this, both of them couldn't help but be pleasantly surprised. Good guy. Is it so exciting to reward evolution points from the beginning? The 2 people who have read the official website guide naturally understand the role of evolution points. In this game, there are 2 currency units in total. The first currency unit is a special ore, the Arak ore, which is a rare mineral that serves as the energy source for the mother nest. Consuming enough Arak mineral mother nests can hatch some special building bugs, unlocking more bugs. Although the mother nest can provide energy by devouring substances or organisms, these things can only sustain the organism and it will not die. To unlock more special insects, one still needs to devour minerals. And insects themselves can also devour minerals to improve their level. So this ore can also be considered as a currency. Another type of currency is the evolution point, and there are 2 methods to obtain the evolution point. The first type is obtained by hunting powerful celestial beasts or special creatures, the second type is obtained through ore exchange, and the third type is obtained through recharging. Starry beasts or special creatures can be understood as boss battles in other games, and the difficulty is not insignificant. It is also difficult to obtain or exchange because ore is very rare, and this thing can also improve one's basic attributes. Therefore, using it to exchange for evolution points is not something that two people will consider. As for recharging, the recharge system is not yet open, so this road is also blocked. Perhaps you would say that this game even has a recharge system, which is a bit tricky. The two of them will tell you that it's not a problem at all. Because although evolution points can be obtained through recharging, the same evolution points can also be sold to the system for cash exchange, with a ratio of 1.1 and no redemption threshold. Although it is not yet clear whether the news is true or false, since the official dares to say so, it is basically impossible to lie about the performance of this game at present. Of course, these are not the key points. The key is that the game company, which has always been known for vampires, will give you soft girl coins at the beginning of the game. You should know that if you recharge into the game company will definitely have a green light all the way. But if you want to pay out of the game, not to mention the red lights all the way, these game companies are likely to unload all the lights for you. But the game started with the task of sending money to you directly, which is totally out of line. His mother. If this is true, and according to the game company's statement of no threshold withdrawal, this game has simply opened a new chapter in the gaming industry. If we could really come up with money from the game company, wouldn't that be? At this thought, the two of them immediately raised their big pliers and said, "Leader, we promise to complete the task." As they spoke, the two insects crawled towards the nearby cave entrance one after the other. For the two of them at this moment, it doesn't matter how much money they can spend from the game company, what matters is whether they can spend it. So the two of them are somewhat eager to verify. As soon as they came out and looked at everything in front of them, they were both shocked. "I'll be obedient. You dare to believe me? This art style. This art quality." At this moment, the two people who had just stepped out of the underground cave stared blankly at everything in front of them. They are currently located at the foot of a snowy mountain. Standing at the foot of the mountain and looking up, they can see the snow-capped mountains shrouded in clouds and mist, resembling a fairyland on earth. At the foot of the mountain, there are various unknown plants growing all over, and occasionally strange-looking animals can be seen shuttling through the forest. Occasionally, the rustling sound of wind blowing through the distant forest made the two of them involuntarily glance at each other. "Damn it! You're so ugly. Nemas. They're all worker bees. I don't believe you're not like this." So the two of them chatted and entered the jungle. Meanwhile, on the other side, in the Zerg chat group. Emperor Penguin. "It's numb. Aren't these two special ones supposed to report the situation as soon as they enter the game? It's been a while since the special ones not only haven't reported the situation, but there hasn't been any response in this group." Feng Xiao Xiao. "Yes. I'm afraid he didn't die in the game. Storm rises and clouds rise. These two silly criticisms are really unreliable. Brothers, I also received the game helmet just now. I will go in and check the situation before coming out to report to everyone." Feng Xiao Xiao. "Brother, go and go back quickly. Wind and cloud surging." "Okay. About a few more hours." Feng Xiao Xiao. "At the wind is rising and the clouds are surging." "Brother, what's the situation? You're just talking." Emperor Penguin. "Yes. Another one disappeared. Brothers, I just received the helmet. Let me enter the game and see what kind of monsters they are, making these people seem like they have been possessed." Feng Xiao Xiao. "Go and go back quickly, don't go missing too." Emperor Penguin. "Don't worry, it's safe." After a period of time. Feng Xiao Xiao. "Yes, there's none left. Unknown. Probably dead in the game. And now in the game." End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Start the boss right up. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 4. Start the boss. As soon as you come up on the side of Emperor Penguin, he was stunned by the scene in front of him as soon as he entered the game. I'm so good. This art style is also too. The Emperor Penguin, who was controlling the worker bee, began to rotate the worker bee's flexible compound eyes and looked around. Digging trenches. You want to ask me what a game is? This is really a game. Just as he was still amazed by the realism of this game, a distant sound caught his attention. Following the sound, another worker bee crawled out of the nest and looked around with curious eyes, just like him. Are you a cloud player? Emperor Penguin asked as he looked at the worker bee not far away. Emperor Penguin. Have you received the helmet too? Yeah. Just now, there were a few scammers in the group who entered the game for a while without much movement. Coincidentally, I also received the helmet, so I thought about coming in to see what the situation was, so I could go offline and explain the situation to the others in the group. At this moment, while the two were communicating, Jiang Yao walked over and watched as they continued their opening remarks. He looked at the two insects and said in an extremely perfunctory tone. Two great Zerg warriors. You woke up, by the way. Forgot to say, the Zerg were defeated, you were the last Zerg, and now you need to work together with me to build the Zerg, so go collect resources on the ground. Go. Go. Just as Jiang Yao was about to turn around and leave, something suddenly came to his mind. He turned around and glanced at the two insects, saying, by the way, there are still 3 insects on top. I don't know what the situation is, but they haven't come back yet. Let's go and take a look. After speaking, he walked towards his residence inside the insect nest without looking back, leaving only 2 insects looking at each other. Ma, I don't know why I always feel like this NPC's words are so perfunctory. And I always feel like this NPC is like when we read textbooks in school, all sorts of perfunctory. Yes, I also have this feeling. However, what they don't know is that repeating the same lines multiple times is a common reaction among individuals. I don't know what those 3 goods are doing, why haven't you seen their figures? After bidding farewell to Jiang Yao, Emperor Penguin looked around and didn't notice the Xianyu and other people who had entered the game first, and suddenly felt a little strange. Isn't there a chat window here? Try asking inside. Just then, the cloud player discovered something. So he tried typing a paragraph in the chat box. Hello. Is anyone there? Not long after typing, there was a reply, which was an invitation box for a voice channel. Player, at the beginning of the game, Koen invites you to join the battle language channel. May I ask if you accept it? Upon seeing the pop-up chat box, the two of them glanced at each other and then clicked to join. Nima. Salted fish, please dodge. Damn it. Start with Akunima's tail. Steal its butt. Don't be so special, just face it. Hammer. If the labor and capital have only 1000 health, there will be 200 health left. Now I am all bleeding and still in a state of breaking defense. Watma dares to steal buttocks. If I dare to go up in this situation, it's not because I stole it, but because I gave it away. Stop arguing, there's a newcomer coming. Hurry up and ask the 2 of them to come up and help. Xianyu immediately sent out the coordinates on the channel. We're starting a big monster. Hurry up and support us. We're almost settling in Bumbu. Upon hearing the cry of the salted fish, the Emperor Penguin also looked bewildered and said, what's the situation with Nima? We just entered the game, is this so exciting? Yes, I can't even understand some specific operations of the game right now. Please give us some time to familiarize ourselves with the operations. The cloud player also agreed. Familiarize yourself with your sister, Immersive. Now the 3 of us are one big cripple and the remaining 2 are also half-blooded. We'll probably be so cold when you get to know us. Stop writing, come up and help, brother. In the end, they couldn't resist the urging of a few people, and the two could only sprint towards the outside of the cave one by one. Damn it! This picture quality is amazing. The Emperor Penguin couldn't help but sigh as soon as he left the cave entrance. Two big brothers, don't be so special about the picture quality. You're going to die. Here, hurry up, Hammer. The two continued to run non-stop towards the target point, crawling for about 10 minutes. Damn it! Damn it! The scene before me stunned the Cloud players. Not far away, a huge thunder dragon was fighting against two worker bees. This thunder dragon is completely different from the thunder dragon in their memory. It appears to be at least 60 meters long, while considering its slender neck, it reaches a height of at least 40 meters. In front of such a behemoth, the worker bee, which is 5 or 6 meters long, appears exceptionally small. I saw two worker bees on the battlefield, one in front and the other behind, sandwiched in front and back, playing against Thunder Dragon. And behind a nearby rock, there was a worker bee with many scars spitting at the Thunder Dragon. To be precise, it is spitting corrosive venom. However, looking at its throughput, the two estimated that the worker bee was probably out of stock. You are also 66, and you are looking for such a big group to fight in the beginning. The Emperor Penguin couldn't help complaining about it. What do you know? What you play with is excitement. What you play with is heartbeat. 3 years without war, 3 years without war. This is the answer to the Emperor Penguin's roast salted fish. Mad. If everything goes wrong, it will be completely destroyed. There will be a week of CDs that cannot enter the game. Cloud players said angrily about this. Although the two of them felt that the behavior of these three goods driving such a big monster as soon as they arrived was too impulsive, they still rushed forward to help. Damn it! Why did you just engage in a close combat with it? Just spit at a long distance. After approaching this thunder dragon at this moment, feeling the pressure brought by its huge size, the Emperor Penguin instinctively took 2 steps back and said, "You don't understand anything. The Zerg are moving forward bravely. Never give up. Since everyone is here, let's go. Demacia. Don't." Hearing the shout of the salted fish, the Thunder Dragon Emperor Penguin instinctively wanted to stop it, but it was already too late. Oh my goodness! With the startled cry of the salted fish, there was a violent vibration and collision sound from the ground. Looking along a parabolic smoke and dust, the salted fish had already been bounced far away by this kick, lying on the ground with no energy left. Nemas. You guys are really in a trap. They all said they went up together, but in the end, I only got one worm on me. If it weren't for my own remaining blood, this wave would have ended up killing me. The Emperor Penguin was speechless about this and said, "Mad. As soon as you guys play games, you know they're reckless. Although this product looks very similar to the Thunder Dragon we know, it is definitely not the Thunder Dragon we know. I won't talk about its size, don't you pay attention to its back and skin. Have you ever seen a Thunder Dragon with a long rock on its back? Looking at its skin, although our venom has a very strong corrosiveness, look at the withered cargo on the mountain. It's almost vomited to the point of collapse and hasn't even broken the defense of this Thunder Dragon. Isn't that enough to explain the problem?" Upon hearing this, the salted fish suddenly realized, "Are you saying that this Thunder Dragon is extraordinary?" Emperor Penguin. I feel like I didn't mention it, but first of all, the skin of this Thunder Dragon should have strong corrosion resistance and defense. This giant beast is obviously not something we can defeat at our level, but fortunately, I have a rough understanding of this Thunder Dragon's weaknesses. You can follow my command and be sure to defeat it later. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. This game is a bit different. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. This game is a bit different. Upon hearing Emperor Penguin's words, everyone immediately perked up. First of all, let's distance ourselves. In terms of flexibility, Thunder Dragon is far behind us. We need to take advantage of our own speed advantage. How many can we play at the moment? How much HP is left? Report it first. While talking about the Emperor Penguin, he retreated backwards. Report Jill, currently only the two of you who are new are full of blood, and there is still a storm of half-blood left. Do we still need to report the situation of the remaining two of us? Xian Yu said in silence. Upon hearing Xian Yu's words, Emperor Penguin instinctively glanced at the two people in the distance who were both breathing in and out. It seems like there's no need to report. How is the opponent's damage data? Said Emperor Penguin, continuing to ask. Let me talk. As someone who has been severely disabled, I feel like I have the most say in this issue. Upon hearing this question, Xian Yu spoke up. Our total health is 1000 points, attack is 50 points, defense is 30 points, and agility is 20 points. This is our data. But the damage calculation method of this game is different from the games we used to play. As we get more and more injured and our exoskeletons become more and more severely damaged, our defense will gradually decrease. Therefore, I can only give you an estimate of the damage. When the Thunder Dragon sweeps its tail at full capacity, we will lose 50 health points. However, when we lose more than 300 health points, when it sweeps its tail, we will lose at least 100 health points. Then the damage caused by the Thunder Dragon step just now reached 500 points, and the remaining health I had was 600. Upon hearing this, Emperor Penguin roughly understood. The meaning is that this game has a completely different calculation method from other games in terms of damage data and other aspects. If I'm not mistaken, I'm afraid you won't be able to see damage data when attacking enemies. The salted fish nodded and said, yes, that's the most troublesome thing. We don't even know what it's like to fight it for a long time. If everything here is based on reality, then to know the enemy's remaining health, we can only estimate it. Based on my visual inspection, I found that this Thunder Dragon has no wounds on its body, so I estimate that you have been playing for a long time and feeling lonely. Salted fish. Monsters at this level can at least be considered small bosses or elite monsters in the game, since our damage data calculation is based on what you said. So monsters also use the same calculation method, so we need to abandon the mentality of playing other games. It's not just about hitting here. If I'm not mistaken, in this game, if I hit the monster's vital point, I might be able to kill it in one go. Upon hearing Emperor Penguin's words about salted fish, he couldn't help but feel surprised. Is this how this game is played? This is just my guess, we will need to wait for a while for practical operation to know. However, if we want to defeat it according to our previous game style, it will definitely not work. Speaking, the Emperor Penguin locked its gaze on the slender neck of the Thunder Dragon. This level of giant beast has two weaknesses in total. The first is its neck. As for the second one, said the Emperor Penguin, looking at the huge body of the Thunder Dragon. It will be very difficult for it to get up again after it falls. And if I'm not mistaken, even if it falls down and wants to get up, it needs its neck as support. Combining these, I can basically determine that the biggest weakness of this giant beast is its neck, said the Emperor Penguin, looking at the crowd. We just need to climb up his back and everything will be okay. Just climb up its back, and then we'll follow its back and climb up its neck. Climb up its neck and attack. My observation shows that its attack methods are very single, including tail flicking and trampling, but neither of these attacks can hit the creature on its back. We only had to climb onto its back, and at that time it was basically impossible for it to throw us down. Because our big pliers were not for fun. Upon hearing the Emperor Penguin's words, the salted fish paddling beside him asked, so what? Forgive me for being blunt on how to climb up. This cargo has a back height of at least 20 meters, which is the height of a 6-story building. Lao Tai, you tell me how to climb. You want to say that we are worker bees rather than fleas when we jump up. Although our jumping ability is still strong, it is absolutely impossible to jump up. Crawling along its feet will result in a sudden death if one accidentally steps down. If you could say this, it would seem like you're not playing single-player games much. Throw it away. Just throw your teammates on it. Do you really think these 2 pliers are used as decorations for us? Emperor Penguin said angrily, then he glanced at the Cloud player next to him and said, Cloud player, hold on to me and throw me onto the back of Thunder Dragon. Alright. Upon hearing the Emperor Penguin's words, the Cloud player quickly climbed up to his side and grabbed him. My second AO. You step on the horse lightly, mad. If you hit harder, the labor and capital won't be killed by Thunder Dragon. You'll be pinned to death every minute. Sorry, my pot, the mode of this game may not adapt for a while. Cloud players quickly apologized when they heard Emperor Penguin's complaint. In the next moment, the Cloud player picked up the Emperor Penguin and aimed it at the target with a fierce force before throwing it onto the Thunder Dragon. Let's go. With a perfect arc passing by, the Emperor Penguin in the air flew towards the tail of the Thunder Dragon. At the next moment, Lei Long aimed at the target and shook his tail. At this moment, the Emperor Penguin was thrown far away by this tail like a baseball. Everyone. I have a MMP sentence that I don't know how to say. At this moment, Emperor Penguin, who was in the air, held back this sentence on the chat channel for a while. To be honest, I feel like you're probably going to kill me before the Thunder Dragon kills me. Let you throw me on your back and send me to the muzzle. Indeed, they are not afraid of opponents like gods, but afraid of teammates like pigs. I heard that the Cloud player who made a mistake earlier chose to dive. Puhaha. Although you are my teammate, I don't know why. I couldn't help but want to laugh in that wave just now. At the beginning of the game, a Kuan not far away couldn't help but laugh. Immediately after, the entire chat channel burst into laughter. Emperor Penguin. Forget it, I don't think you guys can be relied on either. I'll throw it away next. Once you get on the back of Thunder Dragon, climb up your neck. Just find your position and clamp it hard. Without waiting for the Cloud player to react, the Emperor Penguin that had already run back grabbed him and threw it onto Lei Long's back. Let's go. Sigh. Hold the grass, I'm not ready yet. At the next moment, when Lei Long saw the Cloud player flying in, he didn't hesitate to do a tail flick. But at this moment, the Emperor Penguin had already run in another direction and grabbed the wind and clouds, throwing it towards the back of the Thunder Dragon. As expected, this Thunder Dragon has a certain intelligence. It knows that once we climb onto its body, it will be dangerous, so it will find ways to stop us from climbing. I have to say that this game does something. Although the monsters in the beginner's village are usually done well, once they leave the beginner's village, the quality of those monsters will decrease. Now we can only hope that the monsters in this game can still ensure such quality after leaving the novice village. Looking at the Cloud player Emperor Penguin who was thrown away by a tail, he analyzed. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Defeating Lei Long. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Defeating Lei Long. I'm Nima. Don't think that pretending to be 13 like this can cover up the fact that you sold me. And what you just said, I don't believe there's no personal grudges inside. This is not selling. This is called strategy. Because Thunder Dragon has a tail, one of you must be thrown away. Cloud player. Now that the wind and clouds have risen and climbed up, the next step is easy. The Emperor Penguin said to the Cloud player who was still doing a parabola in the distance, if you land on your side, just run towards the Kun who started paddling in the distance. When the wind and clouds start attacking the Thunder Dragon will inevitably focus on the wind and clouds. At this time, we only need to let a Kun and a salted fish throw us both out at the same time, and we should be able to climb up smoothly, damn it. We've all been severely disabled, and you still let us work as laborers. Are you still human? It's none of our business if it's misplaced. It's okay, if it's misplaced, I'll take you two to offer sacrifices to heaven later. 2 worms. After several people had climbed to the designated location, the Emperor Penguin began to closely monitor the Thunder Dragon in search of an opportunity. Because now the wind and clouds have climbed onto Lei Long's back, Lei Long is also desperately shaking his body to shake off the wind and clouds. Unfortunately, the pliers that worker bees can easily crush steel are not vegetarian either. No matter how restless the Thunder Dragon was, the wind and clouds were still firmly sandwiched between its back. On the contrary, there were a few times when the noise was too loud, the Thunder Dragon almost knocked himself down. After a while, seeing that the wind and clouds had risen and reached the designated position, the Emperor Penguin gave an order. Up. In the next moment, I saw a surge of wind and clouds, and I fixed myself with a pair of pliers. Then, I extended another one and directly aimed it at the thick neck of the Thunder Dragon, pinching it. Although the neck of the Thunder Dragon is also covered in rocks, these defenses are not much different under the giant claws of the worker bees. I only heard Lei Long let out a painful cry, and in the next moment, a large piece of skin was torn off. After tearing it off, the wind and clouds surged and instinctively put the meat into the mouth. Pa Ji. Pa Ji. Ha. This taste is pretty good, crispy chicken meat. I have to say this taste is pretty good. No, that's not the point is that this game actually has a taste system. At this moment, the other two also climbed onto Lei Long's back. The wind is rising and the clouds are surging. When you reach your position, attack and don't do any fancy operations. The Emperor Penguin said as he climbed onto his back and advanced towards Lei Long's neck. Yes, yes. Mad asked you to remove its neck, why did you still eat it? The salted fish in the distance immediately agreed. Is this something you can eat? Do you match it? This is the treasure we gave to the mother nest to exchange for evolution points. Why don't you give me Huohuo? If you want to eat something, you will kill the Thunder Dragon. You can eat whatever you want with the plants on the ground. No one is stopping you. Wind and cloud surging. Do you see that you are speaking human language? We can't even eat a piece of meat in such a difficult battle. The donkeys of this production team can't withstand your exploitation. Salted fish. Exploitation. Don't worry, we never exploit. We'll kill a few of us later, and you can make whatever you want. We won't just stop you, but also cheer you up and watch you make it. The wind rises and the clouds surge. I'll eat grass instead. In this way, all three of them climbed to the designated position and gave a clip to the neck of the Thunder Dragon. In addition to the clip, they also added some corrosive venom to their mouths. After such a wave of operations, Lei Long made a series of screams and screams. However, no matter how hard the Thunder Dragon struggled, it couldn't shake off the three worker bees. Watching the Thunder Dragon's huge body constantly struggling in the distance, the dust in the sky was stirred up by the collision, and the salty fish couldn't help but praise it. I'll be obedient, the special effects of this game are amazing. And at this moment, watching the Thunder Dragon run further and further, the salted fish seemed to remember something. Damn it! Don't pretend to be dead with a koan at the beginning. Lei Long ran far away. Keep up. Ha! With what? We're seriously injured now. What kind of calf are you pretending to be? In just a little while, I recovered over 100 blood. You've been lying there for so long, and I reckon your blood is almost full. Later, they said we gave me a small share of the loot from the rowing, and there was no place to cry. Upon hearing Xin Yu's words, at the beginning, a koan suddenly reacted and said, I'm going, I forgot about this mess. Let's go, let's go. Keep up. At the beginning, a koan climbed out of the rock and rushed towards the direction of the Thunder Dragon with the salted fish. Damn it. You really can paddle. Even after armor has recovered, why do you pretend to be dead by hiding on the rocks? You mean me, you're not much better either. I see that your coin has not only restored 100 points of health, right? The salted fish just gave him a faint glance and said, "See through, don't tell through." In this way, with the joint effort of several people, with the final attack, the painful cry of the thunder dragon rang out, and finally it reluctantly collapsed. At this moment, several people couldn't help but feel a little emotional as they looked at the collapsed behemoth. "Finally, I was killed," he said as he looked at the fallen giant thunder dragon's salty fish, and he didn't forget to take a glance at the opening koan not far away. Seeing the gaze of the salted fish coming to the start of a game, Jiao Kun immediately understood and nodded repeatedly, "Yes. I'm exhausted, Dad. Tired of your sister, you two have to go through the entire process one by one, and there is also a variety of gifts." Watching their singing and dancing, they mercilessly chose to expose it. "What nonsense. At least the two of us have made a significant contribution in testing damage," said Xianyu, who suddenly noticed the Emperor Penguin not far away who remained silent. "What's wrong?" he asked curiously as he looked at the salted fish. "How to put it, I always feel like this game is not as simple as we think." Speaking, Emperor Penguin looked at his unchanged experience bar and fell into contemplation. Then he glanced at a few people and asked, "How much experience have you gained now?" Upon hearing his words, several people also recalled their own experience notes. "0, damn it. I'm also 0. I'm just like a duck egg. How can I have any experience?" suddenly said the wind and clouds. As soon as his words fell, several people's eyes coincidentally turned to him and said, "Damn it. Why only you have experience? Why are you the only player who entered the game together with such a prominent waist plate? The wind rises and the clouds surge. I think I know what the reason is." Emperor Penguin suddenly said while a few people were still discussing. "What is the reason?" "What I guessed correctly is related to the piece of meat I just ate when the wind and clouds rose." Speaking, the Emperor Penguin looked at the crowd and said, "From just now on, what we have done has basically been the same, but we have not gained any experience, except for eating a piece of dragon meat and gaining some experience. So it's not difficult to see from this that if we want to upgrade, we need to eat meat similar to this mutated thunder dragon," said the Emperor Penguin with a sigh. "That's why I said this game is not simple. Compared to other games, this game is completely different in terms of upgrading or enhancing its own strength. On the surface, it may seem like a sandbox game, but in reality, it is not at all. In addition to the common infrastructure routines in sandbox games, this game also requires players to consider resource allocation strategies and even evolutionary directions for personal strength and operation." Upon hearing Emperor Penguin's words, everyone turned their gaze to him, as if waiting for his next words. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Players' Plans. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Players' Plans. Watching the people looking at him, Emperor Penguin sorted his thoughts and then said, "I believe you have also played many sandbox games online." Everyone nodded at this. "So the question is, have you noticed a feature in sandbox games? It's collecting resources in the early stages and upgrading buildings to unlock more technology and troops. But have you noticed this game? Although it's similar to sandbox games, it also involves constantly collecting resources, upgrading buildings, and unlocking new biological guides. But what sets it apart from other sandbox games is the difficulty and degree of freedom of the game's monsters, as well as the choice of development." Speaking of which, Emperor Penguin looked at everyone's puzzled eyes and thought for a moment before saying, "Have you ever played Arkansas? It's the game of raising dinosaurs." Xianyu thought for a moment and said, after playing for a while, that game was mainly about survival and development, taming dinosaurs and building a home. Then dinosaurs and characters can be upgraded, and the higher the level, the stronger the attributes will be. This is probably the pattern. Upon hearing what Xianyu said, Emperor Penguin continued, "You're right. Unlike Ark, the building upgrades in this game are more focused on real-time strategy games. For example, games like 2-2, and Endless Rag unlock different ships by constantly upgrading buildings, but the gameplay is similar to Ark, requiring continuous leveling in building houses, because our base is now a mother nest. I previously researched the background of this game on the official website and found out that it is a Star Wars-themed game. In the future, we are highly likely to face attacks from other monsters in outer space. Upon hearing this, the crowd also felt confused. Speaking of Penguin, what exactly are you going to say? Can you simplify it a bit? I feel like you're almost making us dizzy. Upon hearing these people's complaints, Emperor Penguin thought for a moment and said, "Let me simplify it a bit. Firstly, in this game, if we want to unlock higher units, we need to continuously allocate resources to our mother nest. While allocating resources, we can also gain some evolutionary points. And now we are still in the beginner village stage, there is a high possibility that wild monsters from space will attack us in the future. That is to say, the future main battlefield may be space, possibly because the official has not yet made space, so only ground gameplay is now open, but there will be an issue involved here. The first point is to upgrade buildings and unlock troops, which requires resources. The second point is that if we consider that there will be enemies from space invading in the future, do we need to deploy a large number of defense buildings on the planet? Does this also consume resources? The third point is that even if we unlock a new branch and purchase a branch to cultivate it, does upgrading require resource consumption, and if we want to evolve, does it also require resource consumption? But the characteristic of this game is to ensure authenticity, so the official website mentioned that resources are not renewable. Upon hearing this, everyone immediately understood his meaning. The total amount of resources is not enough. Xianyu suddenly understood. I roughly understand what you mean. Firstly, resources are not renewable, but our development and defense both require a large amount of resources, just like an Ark. In order to protect our homeland's safety, we need to consume a lot of resources on buildings because buildings are our foundation. But at this stage, we cannot move immediately after a region's resources are depleted like Endless or leading the land. We cannot move, we can only develop with limited resources on this planet, so we need to strictly control the selection of buildings for future upgrades, the proportion of resource allocation, and even our own resource use. Otherwise, once the official website opens up new gameplay, such as the massive invasion of extraterrestrial monsters here, we will be led by dogs on the spot because we don't have enough defense facilities or enough troops. And all the efforts we put in during this period, whether it's the resources we collected, the upgraded buildings, or the characters we operate, will be in vain. The Emperor Penguin also nodded at this. So now we must determine our development direction. Let's take worker bees as an example. According to the official website, the main role of worker bees is mining or transporting materials. Simply put, this is a basic character. Personally, I don't think there is much need to cultivate this type of character. Because the resources of the entire planet are limited, and I estimate that most of the resources will be spent on building and maintaining the operation of the hive, the resources we can allocate should be very limited. So personally, I think we should choose roles with higher cost-effectiveness for cultivation. Upon hearing this, everyone also understood Emperor Penguin's plan. Penguin, do you mean that at this stage, we are hoarding the evolution points we have obtained after submitting the resources we have collected, and then when we unlock good character cards in the future, we can purchase which character evolution? That's right. That's almost what it means. After we evolve the character to a higher level, we can devour the mutated creature's flesh and raise the level. The Emperor Penguin also nodded at this. That's almost what it means. Although in the early stages, we can also evolve worker bees to the second or third stage through evolution points, so our strength will definitely be greatly improved. But if we do this, I feel that the cost-effectiveness is too low, not cost-effective, and it will inevitably cause a lot of resource waste when we change roles. So I suggest waiting a little longer, the party will never lose out. Speaking of which, Emperor Penguin looked at everyone. The most crucial thing is that game resources are not renewable. Currently, only the 5 of us have secured a spot to enter the game. So the resources will be divided among the 5 of us, but when the quota is increased in the future, how much more can we get from this resource? Upon hearing this, everyone still didn't understand what Emperor Penguin meant. During this period, taking advantage of the shortage of people, we worked hard to collect all the resources that could be collected near our home, and then replaced them with evolution points. When others enter the game in the future, we will undoubtedly be ahead of them by a large margin. Xian Yu couldn't help but brighten his eyes. That's right. That's it. We can do as much liver as we can with fewer people now. After others come in, the progress of unlocking buildings will undoubtedly increase a lot. When new units are unlocked, we can directly purchase new units, then throw the evolution point in and take off directly. Amazing. That's it. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. This reward is a bit lacking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. This reward is a bit lacking. After discussing the plan, everyone began to split the Thunder Dragon and transport it back in parts. Brothers, I have to say that this worker bee has something to do. It's not that big, but it can easily lift things dozens of times larger than itself without any pressure. On the way back, the salted fish held up a piece of dragon meat that was dozens of times larger than itself and sighed as they walked. This is abnormal. According to the official website, the Zerg are the species that will exert evolution to the extreme in this universe. They can carry warships with their flesh. As a member of the Zerg tribe, even if it is a basic unit, the strength of the worker bee cannot be underestimated, and its main role is to mine resources and transport minerals. The Emperor Penguin replied. If I remember correctly, according to the introduction, worker bees can lift weights hundreds of times higher than themselves. And this is still a worker bee that has not invested any evolutionary points. If we invest in evolutionary points to evolve into higher order worker bees, it is possible to do so thousands or even tens of thousands of times. Take that Thunder Dragon as an example, it is not on the same level as a worker bee. In theory, we cannot defeat it. However, due to the racial advantage of worker bees, we can easily defeat them as long as we operate them properly, and this is something that only extremely evolved creatures like the Zerg can achieve. And you should know that according to the setting, our enemy is a powerful empire with tens of millions of light years of territory. If it weren't for something, it would have been over long ago. Transporting Thunder Dragon meat is relatively easy for a few people, and basically one person can pull it back one by one. And when the insects brought back the dragon-like meat, Jiang Yao was also startled. Jiang Yao, who is bound to the insect nest, has gained a certain understanding of the power of insects through the inheritance and memory of the insect nest. However, the combat effectiveness of worker bees is difficult to describe in a nutshell, as they play a role as resource collectors in insect populations. Its strength lies in collecting resources, transporting these aspects of work rather than fighting. Even the biggest function of the venom it spits out is not to hunt animals, but to dissolve some hard rocks or metals. Due to the extreme evolution, this venom has a great killing power on rock metals, but the damage it causes to organisms is limited. However, even in such a situation, the players still defeated this giant beast, and Jiang Yao had to lament how wise his idea of letting the players control the insect swarm was. The remnants of the Ella core should be attributed to the Ella core that caused this Thunder Dragon to mutate. At this moment, looking at the huge body of the Thunder Dragon not far away, Jiang Yao, who was bound to the insect nest, noticed the clues. I didn't expect this planet to have Ella core. I was just worried about not having the ore to unlock the building. Now I'm dozing off and encountering a pillow. Jiang Yao couldn't help but feel happy upon hearing this news. But soon he understood the reason behind it. In order for the insect nest to develop, besides consuming a large amount of conventional substances, it also needed Elec ore. If there were no Elec minerals on the planet, the Zerg would never have dropped their insect nests here. Because for the Zerg, Elec ore is everything to them. The mother nest converts Elicore into energy by absorbing it, and by consuming the energy-consuming insect nest, it can hatch various special building larvae and unlock more special troops. Thinking of this, Jiang Yao immediately decided on his next plan. Since there are Elicores here, the next goal is to find them as soon as possible and unlock new units. But now let the system absorb the evolutionary points before proceeding. Thinking of this, Jiang Yao walked up to Lei Long. The system absorbs evolution points. Jiang Yao gave the command. Ding! The system started absorbing evolution points and successfully obtained 1000 evolution points by absorbing the target mutated thunder dragon. Jiang Yao was also pleased to see this message. I made a fortune with this wave. 1000 evolution points is not a small amount. A quota requires 100 evolution points and 5 mana points, and 1000 evolution points is equivalent to 10 quotas. Now I still have 85 points of devouring power in my hand. If my mother's nest devours the thunder dragon, I should have 200 to 300 points of devouring power. Thinking of this, Jiang Yao immediately asked several people to throw the thunder dragon meat into the insect nest, because the current mother nest is in a semi-dormant state, so many operations can only be completed with the help of the insects. After everyone had done everything, they couldn't wait to run to Jiang Yao because they knew it was time to claim the reward. Looking at the small hopeful eyes of the few people, Jiang Yao thought for a moment and said. Cough cough. Warriors of the Zerg tribe. After your hard work, you have made tremendous contributions to the mother nest. And after testing, the thunder dragon you brought back is a mutated thunder dragon, so you can not only receive rewards for submitting resources, but also receive additional evolution point rewards. Each of you insects will receive an evolution point reward of 1 point for submitting materials, as well as an additional evolution point reward of 20 points. After saying these things, Jiang Yao couldn't help but feel a little hot on his face. He had to admit that this wave was too fierce, and he gave players 100 points out of 1000 evolution points. But there is no other way. Firstly, I introduced players in the form of a game. As a game planner, I am very clear that if it is a game, you need to operate it, and operating it requires funding. Especially now, my own demand for this evolutionary point is very high. In order to keep players stable for a long time in this game, he directly set up features that can be redeemed through evolution points. After all, any game has its own moments of boredom. Many times, it's not how fun the game is that keeps you playing, but because you can make money. For example, a certain arc is an example, and the gameplay may be gone in a few months. But why have so many people been able to play for so many years? It's not just because of the tickets, but also because of the materials sold in the trading group for 100 or 200 yuan a day. This is the driving force that most players are willing to keep up with. So in order to keep players playing, besides the game itself being good, Jiang Yao is also very clear that players need to make money, so he has activated the withdrawal function. And where does this cached soft girl coin come from? It's impossible for the system to directly invade a certain industry and get the soft girl coins out. Is this possible? But it's also a big problem. It's okay to say that the players have exchanged less, but the amount is also large. So the solution he came up with was to give wool to the sheep and use the players' soft sister coins to raise them. In the future, as there are more people, there will inevitably be many evolution points to exchange for soft sister coins. There will also be many people charging soft girl coins, but if this Kryptonian player charges money, you must have something for him. What is the thing given? What Jiang Yao can think of now is to give evolution points and use them as Krypton currency for circulation. As for why there is no need for devouring energy, the reason is also very simple. The difficulty of obtaining devouring energy is much higher than that of evolution points. And just now, the difficulty of obtaining devouring energy refreshed his cognition once again. Just now, with such a big thunder dragon, Jiang Yao finally gained 5 points of devouring power. This made Jiang Yao also dumbfounded. Although Jiang Yao knew that it was difficult to obtain energy points, he never expected it to be so difficult because there was a huge special plant outside his cave entrance that resembled a carnivorous flower. It was his official website that displayed pictures of flowers that could run and jump, and he easily solved those flowers and obtained over 100 points of devouring power. After producing 5 worker bees, he still had 85 points left. He remembered very clearly at the time that he probably only cleaned up 5 or 6 flowers. So based on this amount of devouring energy, Jiang Yao naively thought that although it might be a bit difficult to obtain devouring energy, it shouldn't be too difficult. As a result, the Thunder Dragon just now made him completely dumbfounded. At 5 o'clock, then the huge Thunder Dragon provided him with 5 points of devouring power. Surprisingly, there aren't as many cannibal flowers as those. This made him a bit confused, but soon he might have thought of the reason behind it. If he had guessed correctly, when he split the cannibal flower in half, he saw that the small red crystal particles inside its body were highly likely to be Elic ore. It is also because these things are Elic minerals that they can generate so much devouring energy. And that Thunder Dragon only mutated due to the influence of Elic ore, so its body only contains some elements of Elic ore, which is why it produces so little devouring energy. Although Jiang Yao knows that the buildings of the insect swarm have the ability to devour everything around them to convert energy, the conversion rate is very low, and they also need to unlock the corresponding buildings and place them in various positions on the planet. This routine is usually used only after the insects have cleaned up everything that needs to be cleaned up on this planet. After all, after being placed, you cannot just stare at them. If there are still living creatures on this planet, one will destroy you today and the other will destroy you tomorrow, which will cause you a headache in the end. Of course, there is another reason why Jiang Yao does not consider devouring energy as a Krypton currency, besides the difficulty of obtaining it. That's not logical. According to normal game routines, especially in infrastructure games, energy consumption is the currency needed to upgrade buildings and unlock technology. This currency should benchmark against resources such as minerals or food in the game. The resources required to upgrade buildings in the game are all obtained for free, and the evolution point is more like a Krypton resource because it can purchase and evolve troops. This evolution function is like a draw in the game, but unlike a draw, it is 100%, and there is a probability of drawing. Since evolution points are used as Krypton currency, if players flock to them in large numbers in the future, they will definitely need a large number of evolution points. So where does this evolution point come from? It's not just about relying on these kickbacks that I usually eat. Moreover, Jiang Yao estimates that following his train of thought, the amount of kickbacks he currently receives is not enough. After all, this is at least a game for you, so you are not allowed to do any activities or anything. For example, the first discount on holidays, the discount on purchasing new bugs, and so on. And in the future, when wealthy players join, they can easily charge up to 8,000 yuan. Where does this evolutionary point come from? Upon thinking about it, Jiang Yao instantly lost his sense of guilt and felt a vague sense in his heart that taking out 1/10 of the points was too much. Unlike Jiang Yao, the crowd who heard the final distribution result couldn't help but glance at each other with disbelief on their faces. Obviously, this result was a bit unexpected for a few people. After Jiang Yao leaves, damn it. There's so little reward. Xian Yu said first. Come on, you know this is an evolution point. In this game, evolution points can be exchanged for soft girl coins, do you understand, said the Emperor Penguin next to him. The Cloud player also nodded his huge head and agreed. Lao Tai, you are still too young, and you will never understand the urine of these game companies. It is easy for you to enter the game as soft money, but if you want to extract a dime from the game company, it will kill them. And this game is different from other games. As long as you're willing to help, I feel like there's still a chance to extract money from the game company. The Emperor Penguin continued, moving ordinary plants and animals can earn you a reward of 1 evolution point by moving 100 tons. With the power of worker bees, you can probably move 1 or 2,000 tons in one trip. As long as you are willing to go a few more trips a day, you can still get a few hundred soft coins. As he spoke, the emperor penguin controlled the worker bee to crawl towards the insect nest. I got off first, and suddenly I remembered that I hadn't explained the situation to the other people in the group yet. I'll go over and give them a rough overview of the situation first, he said. Also, I happen to have 21 evolution points in my hand. I'll take 1 evolution point and try to withdraw it directly. I'll tell you the situation then. Although I estimate that withdrawal can be completed, it's safer to try it out. However, I would like to remind you that at this early stage, I don't really recommend using evolution points for withdrawal. It's best to hoard them for future use. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Truly no threshold withdrawal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Truly no threshold withdrawal. Emperor Penguin just clicked on the chat group after playing the game. As he thought, there was a long string of messages above that were filled with all kinds of love-hate messages. Let me wipe it, both mad and I have disappeared for 3 or 4 hours without any movement. Are they both dead inside? What did you say to go and go back quickly? Why is it like never going back again? At Emperor Penguin, at Cloud Player, people. Mad, don't you know that you won't be tied up and sent to remote areas to move corn in the future? Done. The 5 people who qualified mysteriously disappeared. Drunk. There's no reliable one. Seeing these messages, Emperor Penguin couldn't help but smile bitterly, so he quickly replied to the message in the group. Emperor Penguin. Brothers, I'm getting fat. After testing, this game is simply perfect. Unknown. Damn it. You finally agreed to go offline. I thought you died in the game. Feng Xiao. If you promise to go, you will go back. You have been very fecal for several hours now. Jing. Penguin boss, what is that? How many hours did you go and then you just finished with 1 sentence? What about the content? Is the game content exactly the same as the CG promotional footage on the official website? Emperor Penguin. It's like a feather, even better than the promotional footage, and I was originally planning to go up and take a look before going offline. But who knew they encountered Xianyu right after going online, and those silly guys were opening bosses, so they had no choice but to go up and help. Li. What is it? Just entered the game and opened the boss. Are you sure you didn't tease me? Emperor Penguin. This game is completely different from the games we played before. Playing a boss does not mean that you must have the necessary attributes to play. Even if the attributes are not in place, you can still defeat powerful bosses by using the character's characteristics, operations, and strategies. Speaking, Emperor Penguin thought for a moment and continued, wait a moment. I remember when I opened the boss just now, I took a few pictures and brought them to my phone for you to take a look. Not long after, a few pictures of the battle were sent to the group by Emperor Penguin. There are 3 pictures in total. The first picture shows the Emperor Penguin just stepping out of the cave and landing on the ground. The second picture shows 2 worker bees playing back and forth with the Thunder Dragon. Not far away, behind a rock, one can vaguely see a worker bee with a turtle spitting venom from behind. The third picture is of a Thunder Dragon trampling on and raising dust in the sky, and one can vaguely see the worker bee named Xianyu still doing parabolic movements in the sky. Everyone in the group was stunned when they saw these few pictures. Unknown. Damn it. Holy crap, the picture quality of this horse riding is amazing. My Nima game is about real details. Feng Xiao. And you see the picture of the salted fish being knocked away, the smoke and dust flying out from the dust all over the sky are so real, poop. Forgive me for laughing unkindly, this posture is a bit funny. Wei Ji. Sorry, I don't know why I saw a Kuan spit at the beginning, but it was also very addictive. Who is this Kuan at the beginning? Emperor Penguin. Jiang Yao, this guy. Remember to ask him to change his ID when you come to the group later. Li. By the way, has this boss produced anything good? Emperor Penguin. Unlike other games, this game is completely based on reality. The boss doesn't drop anything, but when you bring it back to the insect nest, the boss will reward you. Speaking, Emperor Penguin added another picture, which is a screenshot of receiving a 1 yuan transfer. Emperor Penguin. We each received a reward of 21 evolution points for defeating this boss this time. In order to test whether the evolution points advertised on the official website can be withdrawn and whether there is no threshold, I tried using 1 evolution point, and it was as successful as I thought. I can clearly tell everyone that there is no conventional way to embody this game, there is really no threshold, and there are evolution points that can be improved. Upon hearing this, everyone couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Li, damn it. This is too incredible. Completely no threshold withdrawal, this game official is simply stepping on a mudslide in the gaming industry. Jing. Can this kind of picture quality game be withdrawn without any threshold? To be honest, I don't believe it unless the official gives me an internal test qualification to try it out. Unknown. Actually, I won't give too much evaluation on game graphics quality. After all game companies are pursuing the ultimate, but I can easily boast about this withdrawal function. Think about the promotional cash withdrawal games I played before, which set a bunch of thresholds such as how many levels, how many people and when to arrive. In short, they set a bunch of prerequisites to prevent you from successfully withdrawing. Feng Xiao Xiao. I have a deep understanding of this. Nowadays, there are generally 2 ways to withdraw funds in games. The first is various thresholds, and the second is that withdrawal items are not explosive at all. I vaguely remember the last time I played a game where a boss suddenly withdrew a prop and a boss suddenly sold something for a few cents. They surrounded hundreds of people on horseback to grab it, and it was strange if you could grab it. And just now, I heard from Emperor Penguin that they killed that dragon, and a few people were all assigned to 21 evolution points. After calculation, if it's a fight, a boss can directly explode for more than 100 yuan. Wei Ji. Damn it, isn't it that every day when I go online, I go to the boss and exchange money to get rich? Emperor Penguin. In theory, it is like this, but in reality, it is very difficult. The difficulty of the boss in this game is very high, and we only have the most basic troops now. It is basically unrealistic to want to single-handedly challenge the boss. Wei Ji. Isn't it said that military branches can evolve? Emperor Penguin. The resources of this game are non-renewable, and the resources are actually very scarce. It is best to stock up on the evolution points, as they will unlock powerful troops to purchase and evolve in the future. I have studied worker bees, including primary worker bees, evolved armored worker bees, and then steel worker bees. But no matter how many stages of evolution he undergoes, his attribute growth is always related to farming, such as increasing his strength, making venom more corrosive to metals or rocks, and having higher defenses. Unless you want to be a miner forever, I don't particularly recommend choosing worker bee evolution. It's best to unlock attack-oriented units in the future and purchase attack-oriented unit evolution. This way, if you have strong abilities, you can go solo against bosses. At this point, Emperor Penguin also began to share his guesses and strategies summarized in the game with everyone. After sharing with Emperor Penguin, everyone has gained some understanding of the tricks of this game, which makes others who cannot enter the game even more itchy. And now in the game. The wind and clouds are surging, and salted fish are exploring the surface. Salted fish, are you sure you might encounter a boss while wandering around? Don't worry, believe me for sure. The bosses in this world randomly appear in every corner of the map, and I stumbled upon that thunder dragon while wandering around. After thinking for a moment, the salted fish whispered, and I just discovered a shocking secret. Upon hearing the surging winds and clouds here, I couldn't help but feel a little curious. What amazing secret! End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Preparation for distribution of quota. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Preparation for distribution of quota, a way to make money. Upon hearing this, the wind and clouds surged and subconsciously asked, what method? Actually, I accidentally discovered this just now. At first, I didn't pay much attention, said Xianyu, looking at him. Do you remember when you smashed the thunder dragon meat? When Xianyu suddenly asked this question, although he was not sure what he wanted to say, he nodded and said, remember. Do you still remember how you felt at that time? Xianyu continued to ask. Upon hearing the words of the salted fish, he instinctively stopped and began to recall his feelings at the time. I remember, for some unknown reason, when I tore off that piece of meat, my body suddenly felt a strange sensation, and I instinctively put it in my mouth, he said. Upon hearing this, the quantum pliers of the salted fish clapped and said, that's right. It's this special feeling. What does it mean? Don't you understand? Because this game is entirely based on reality, there is no need to add item recognition functionality to other games. For example, what is valuable and what is not, and what is its quality, are not included in this game. At first, I was still pondering how to distinguish whether something had value if none of these were present. However, later on, I realized that this game added a biological instinctual perception system, such as carnivorous animals' desire for meat guiding them to find food, and they could smell the smell of blood from afar. I understand a bit when I hear the ups and downs here. Are you saying that this game has value in distinguishing between good and bad things, that is, when you see something, do you instinctively develop this special feeling? Upon hearing this, the salted fish nodded and said, that's right. Besides, when you discover such things within a certain range, you will also feel this way. It has to be said that the official settings are absolutely amazing. At first, I realized that the Thunder Dragon also relied on this feeling. When I was far away, I felt something calling me in a certain direction, waiting for me to follow the taste and take a look. What a big Thunder Dragon Nima is. So this is the way this game searches for prey, and I call this feeling and smell the call of money. As long as we feel the call of money and move in the direction we perceive, we can definitely discover the big goods. Upon hearing the ups and downs here, my eyes couldn't help but brighten up. You can even notice details like cowhide, but to be honest, the name you gave is really unpleasant. The call for money, in my opinion, is more reliable in terms of wild perception. Go to Teimo's wild perception, why are you so mediocre? So the two continued their exploration journey while chatting. Just as the two were still searching for resources, Jiang Yao began to study the resource conversion ratio. Firstly, I currently have 90 points of devouring energy reserves in my hand. This amount of devouring energy reserves is too small, not to mention upgrading buildings. It may take a few days for normal maintenance after releasing the insect nest and dormancy. So what I need to do now is to quickly find the Elec ore so that I can solve the problem of devouring energy. It is basically impossible for these 5 people alone to find the ore, because their search range is still too small. We must lower the quota here and let more people join. Only in this way can the probability of finding the ore increase. Phage energy is a special type of energy used by the Zerg, similar to the concept of electricity in nuclear energy used by humans, but the difficulty of obtaining it is much greater than that of electricity and nuclear energy. According to the inheritance of the insect nest, Jiang Yao knows that after billions of years of evolution, the Zerg have finally mastered the use of this energy and put it into use. Insect nests can produce larvae by consuming phagocytic energy, while larvae can hatch different branches by consuming phagocytic energy, and can also hatch different building insects by consuming phagocytic energy. In summary, phagocytic energy is the foundation of all foundations. Not only does the daily consumption of the insect nest require the consumption of phagocytic energy, but even insects need to consume it. However, compared to the mother nest, the consumption of phagocytic energy by insects is not significant. Taking worker bees as an example, working for a month consumes at most 1 unit of devouring energy, and if there are frequent battles and injuries during this month. Because rapid recovery from injuries also requires the consumption of energy, 1 unit of energy may only last for about 10 days. And this kind of phagocytic energy consumption can be considered very low. However, the insect nest is different. Due to resource scarcity, Jiang Yao has always put the insect nest in a semi-dormant state, in which most of its functions will stop, so the consumption of phagocytic energy is very low. When necessary, such as when it is necessary to produce larvae, Jiang Yao will release it from this state. Of course, the status of the insect nest is also temporary for Jiang Yao, and it will be different when the building is unlocked later. Because after unlocking the buildings, they will be connected by insect nests, and these buildings will directly obtain the daily energy they need through their mother nests. In this situation, the insect nest cannot enter a semi-dormant or dormant state, as these insect buildings may lose some of their functions due to lack of energy supply. If they do not receive energy supply for a long time, they are highly likely to die. If the insect nest is released from sleep, its daily energy consumption should be around 5 points. If a building is unlocked in the future, the normal building's daily energy consumption is usually 2 points, and some special buildings' energy consumption will be higher. Thinking of this, Jiang Yao began to mutter. At present, 9 spots can be allocated, and there are still about 10 larvae in my family's stock. Hatching a worker bee requires 5 points of energy consumption, a total of 40.5 points of energy consumption. I still have 90 points of energy storage, which can give me half of the remaining energy. The insect nest in a semi-dormant state cannot produce larvae, so the next time you want to produce larvae, you need to make the nest fully operational. Distribute 9 quotas, and with the current 5 people, it should be able to maintain production consumption. Thinking of this, Jiang Yao is ready to take action. If that's the case, then let's distribute it and add some things that were not previously written on the official website. End of this chapter.